Well, hello there and welcome back to the studio today. So you have just entered oil painting tips for beginners live virtual painting session. So in this painting session, I'm going to rely on your comments and your questions in order to steer the direction of the dialogue in this video, because I thought might as well do another a frequently asked questions video while working on this painting. It's a good time to talk about it because this painting is now going to enter into the middle to final stages in its development. So this painting has about, I want to say, 3 layers of oil paint now, counting the toning of the surface. I'm working on a 9 by 12 inch aluminum panel. Actually, this is an aluminum panel. And I double checked very quickly to make sure that it was dry enough to work on, which it is. And if you're wondering how to check your paintings to see if they're dry enough to work on, just get a palette knife or a razor and just feel the surface of the paint film. And as long as it's sturdy and it doesn't peel at all, then that means you're generally good to go. So I have reconfigured the chat box. There was a little bit of an issue with the chat box. So yeah, I hope that it's fixed. Everyone that's watching this live, before I even start painting, I'm going to see if any questions come in, because this is supposed to be guided through the comments. So let's see. Is the chat box working? I may have to reboot the stream if the chat box is still not working. And it's not my internet connection. I think it's, again, YouTube. So someone please feel free to... Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Jean Fernandez Caladas. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Saludos desde Peru. Saludos desde aquí in Beltsville, Maryland. Thank you so much. And again, welcome Tanya and Steven to the live stream. I just, from the moment that I posted this, my chat box went dead for a second, which freaked me out. So I'm glad that we have everything connected and we're ready to go. Alrighty, so yeah, please feel free to ask any art-related questions so that we can steer the dialogue towards a more friendly and educational conversation towards beginning paintings. But I have one little announcement to make right before we start, since this is also going to be a pre-recorded video. I'm going to mention this in the beginning, the middle, and probably the end. I finally updated the Etsy shop. So those of you that may be interested in purchasing paintings, you're seeing the paintings. They're now available. They've all been varnished. These are the ones that were created recently, with the exception of the wolf, because the wolf was painted with water mixable oil paints a couple weeks ago and it's still not completely dry, so I wasn't able to varnish it. Here's a close-up example of what the listings look like and the prices. These are 11 by 14 inch original oil paintings. This is your chance to own an original oil painting signed by me. As soon as the purchase is confirmed with Etsy, again, it's first come, first serve. I create a custom box for you. You have a certificate of authenticity for each oil painting, and then it's good to go. So I just wanted to mention that before we move any further. Hey, Eve. Hello there. Thanks for watching from Holland. All right, so the first thing I'm going to cover is oiling out. And if you're working with water mixable oil paints, this doesn't really apply, because from what I found, it's not really necessary to oil out that much with water mixable. But with traditional, we're going to have to oil out. And I recommend to do this after the 3rd layer of oil paint. So what oiling out is you take oil and solvent, combine it together in whatever ratio you want. I suggest in the first time you oil out to have more solvent than oil, and you can increase the oil content as you go. So you need a little tube here. This has cold pressed linseed oil, about a fifth, I want to say about a fifth of the cold pressed linseed oil, and then distilled turpentine. You can use whichever solvent you want. Make sure to shake the tube. This has already been prepared. And then a sponge. You just need a sponge. So to oil out, simply put in oil. See here, drops of oil. See how quickly it's running down? So that's because there's a lot of solvent. And you want to be very cautious towards, see that? You want to be very cautious towards the face. Any areas that are of, importance in your painting. So that's why I quickly switched gears and changed to the other side of the sponge. So you don't need very much in the areas that you're building up in particular. Hey, Dondo. So see how I'm using the side? Now you want to be very, very, very cautious when you're doing this on the side. And I'm running a high risk with this painting because I'm oiling out after just a couple days. The painting is dry enough to work on, as you're seeing here. Hey, Susanna. So here you can see the difference now, how this is bringing back the luminosity. Now, I had to be very cautious because had anything erased from the face, I'd be in some trouble. And I only recommend oiling out every once in a while, not every layer. And you don't necessarily have to oil out everywhere. And what this is going to do is bring back the luminosity of the painting. Now, if you oil out too much, it could cause premature yellowing of your paint film. And that's not something that you want. So as I said, I'm only oiling out certain areas of the painting, not necessarily the lights that much. I've oiled out here. I haven't oiled out too much here. So just to show you don't have to oil out every single portion of the painting, and remove excess oil with your sponge. That's why I'm using a sponge, to remove excess oil. So just very quickly, wanted to show you the purpose for that. So that should be about good. I don't want to put too much oil everywhere, especially in the first time that you're oiling out. So again, oiling out was a very common question, and when to do it, why to do it, and how to do it. So we've just covered that. And again, please feel free to ask any questions so that we can steer the direction of this video towards something that's very informative to anyone that may be new to painting. So can you use liquid to oil out, Stephen? You can. I've done it before, but I recommend to use linseed oil or walnut oil and a little bit of solvent, because the liquid, the problem with the liquid I've noticed is that it can tack up. It can get really tacky in the middle of the paint film. So I tend not to use liquid for that, but I have used it. Let's see. Hey, Coach. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Brian Ross. So let's go ahead and mix up a skin tone, because we're going to start to put in more specificity here. And I'm just going to use the old palette knife to mix up a very simple skin tone. So anyone wondering about skin tones, this is going to be kind of a recap of last time. So Flake white, yellow ochre, a little bit of our cadmium red vermilion, too much cadmium red vermilion, whoops, a little bit more yellow ochre, ivory black. And then we're just going to create different shades of this. But we are going to vary the color a little bit more now in the skin tones. So, yeah, I thought that it would be a good time to talk about the, how questions that many people just beginning oil painting may have, especially in this stage. It's kind of hard to talk about the fundamentals and stuff when you're very early in a painting. But now that we're in the middle to later stages of this painting, I think it's the appropriate time. So a little bit more Flake white, cadmium red, and I'm just trying to match something similar to what we had before, and I'll create different variations of it. The raw umber, and that's about good just to get the palette started. Nothing too complex there. Let's see. Hey Brian Ross, what colors are you using? So I am using Flake white. This is cadmium yellow, or I usually have Gamboge like extra there, but whichever of the two. Yellow Ocher Deep, Old Holland, Alizarin, or not Alizarin, I'm skipping ahead. Cadmium red, Vermilion, Williamsburg, Alizarin Crimson Lake Extra, Raw Umber. This is the Winsor Newton Raw Umber. I tend to switch back and forth between raw umbers. Ivory Black, this is Williamsburg, Ultramarine Blue. This one is Old Holland. This is Venetian Medium by Rublev. Hey Steven, speaking of walnut oil, have you used M. Graham paints? No, I don't think that I have, but I have heard of them. Hey Nora, oh no, you're not late. We're just starting, and again, feel free to ask any questions that you have in terms of oil painting, so we can steer the direction towards something informative for the viewers watching this as a pre-recorded video. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off somewhere around the forehead, so a little bit of medium here. Hey Mike. Dondo and all, just a quick visit. What are we doing? We are working on the second color layer on this oil painting, and talking about tips for beginner or anyone that's new to oil painting. In particular, we just covered oiling out. And by the way, this isn't meant to be a lesson of any means. This is a virtual painting session with somewhat informative dialogue. For more informative, for online lessons, please check out my online classes, because I am going to be kind of rushing, not rushing, but moving quickly through the painting. So it's always good to warm up somewhere that's a little bit easier. So I'm kind of warming up with the forehead, putting in a half tone for the forehead, a little bit of raw umber. And I'm just basically remixing this halftone. And I recommend doing this when you're getting back to a painting after a long time. It hasn't been a long time for me. It's only been since, I guess, what, Monday? And the date that this is being filmed, the day this is a Wednesday. Now it's going to be very difficult with this photo reference, and in particular, to be honest, it's very difficult with photo references in general to move beyond this stage because of the limitations of the photo reference. Even the best photography, even the best cameras aren't really going to be up to par with what it's like to observe something or someone with your own eyes, at least not yet with our technology. So there's going to be a lot of making things up in this one, and I think that's going to be informative on how to do that. Hey Mike, oh no worries. Probably a deja vu, because it's the first time in a while that I took my own thumbnail image. I usually just use a screenshot from the video. Hey Brian Ross, is that a painting of a German Shepherd on the canvas? German Shepherd? What? I'm lost. Do you mean the... that's strange. You mean the painting from a long time ago? Or not a long time ago, from like a couple weeks ago? If so, I think that one is of a wolf. And it's the only one that isn't for sale just yet, because I used Cobra water mixable oil paint, and it's still not completely dry after some weeks. But that's what happens with water mixable. Hey Douglas, yeah, feel free to ask, and let's make sure that the dialogue is towards the arts. But please feel free to ask anything. Hey Mike, when did you add tones to your brush? Do you blend them or continue with tonal values? Kind of doing a little bit of both. I am adding different values to create a softer, more refined edge now. But I am kind of knitting the edges together in somewhat of a blending fashion. And the forehead, I'm going to be pushing it a little bit more round, a little bit more towards the yellowish family. The cheeks will be towards the more pinkish family. Well, thanks, Brian Ross. Hey, Douglas, what type of oil paints am I using? I'm using a combination of Old Holland, Williamsburg, and a Winsor Newton. The majority of this is going to be using Flake white here, and this is from the Williamsburg brand. And so another question that I often get with oil painting in particular is how do you layer an oil painting, and that's actually what we're doing right now. When you're layering an oil painting, you really want to consider the oil to pigment ratios. So fat over lean. We're going to talk more about fat over lean in a little bit, but to simplify what can be very complex sometimes, fat over lean just means increasing the oil content as you increase the number of layers, which is what I'm doing. See how I'm adding a little bit more oil? Let's see. Yep, no problem, Douglas. Let's see, Brian Ross. In the bottom right corner, it looks like a painting of a dog. The bottom right corner. I could. Actually, that's a good time to get into the background now. Hey Mike, could you do this particular painting using the zoom? Oh, you mean the Zorin? I think it auto-corrected you. I'm pretty much using the Zorin palette for the skin tones. I guess I can see where you see the little dog here, but yeah, I'm basically using the 4 colors for the skin tones. Note that I'm not using that much of cadmium yellow or alizarin crimson like extra or the ultramarine blue. So I'm pretty much using the Zorin palette with the addition of raw umber. Yep, I got you, Mike. You meant the Zorin palette. Hey, Mr. Knowles Deep. I used to paint portraits. Today I started a still life. Talk about a whole different game. I enjoy still life as well. I'm most likely gonna start another still life soon here. But I believe that the layering should be about the same whether it's a still life or a portrait. Portrait requires a different type of mindset, a little bit of a different kind of mindset because we have to take into account some psychological factors. Hey Zach, do you ever make art from imagination or only copies? So I usually try to interpret what I'm looking at and not copy it, but Yeah, I have added certain things into paintings. So in particular, the paintings that are for sale, I'll show you this one. So this one that's for sale, I added the Dementor in the background. And you know, some of the paintings that I have for sale have some imaginative aspects in them, as you may have seen in the previous virtual painting sessions. And again, they're all for sale now on Etsy, so first come first serve. And I have lowered the prices accordingly. If you notice, the one that was for sale before, its price was dropped because the sales were not doing well at all. So I dropped the prices accordingly. But I haven't really done a painting completely from imagination in a long time. And another important thing for any beginners out there is edge quality. Now I talk about this a lot in my online classes, but edge quality is huge because if everything is too soft, it tends not to have a good focal point. If everything is too sharp, then it can be kind of confusing as to where the focal point is. And it's not really something you can figure out from the photo reference, because the photo reference, as you're seeing there, just makes everything too sharp. So I have to go in and adjust accordingly. And also, don't get hung up with the likeness when it comes to portrait painting either. Hey Mike, I love the way you did the curl of her hair from the hat. Actually looks better than the reference. Oh, thank you. I'm actually deviating a lot from the reference with this one. Hey Steven, are you allowing the previous layer to show through, or are you going to cover previous layer completely? I will allow the previous layer to show through. I have to cover a lot more in the background, in particular here, or I might leave it as is, but I will leave some of the previous layers to show through. Now, the next thing I want to get into with this painting in particular is going to be the focus on the eyes. And it's actually very difficult to see as I'm looking on at my monitor. Even the monitor is compressing a lot of the values here. So what I'm going to do now may or may not be completely visible, depending on the resolution that you're watching this stream on. I'm putting very careful little gradations across the sclera. And since we're still in the beginning, I want to give a big shout out to Dondo, our moderator, who is definitely making these streams, you know, more and more viewer friendly. So thanks, Dondo. Hey Douglas, which time and day do you usually go live? So usually Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Eastern Standard Time, around 5 o'clock p.m. But remember, these aren't necessarily lessons. These aren't meant to be lessons. These are just more or less just setting up a painting surface and painting and answering questions. It's not as structured as the online classes are. Hey Denny, hello. What kind of app are you using in this video? It's amazing. You can put all this very clear to understand in the demo. I am using OBS, Open Broadcasting Software, I think it's called. Hey Mike, yes, it can be seen in there. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm putting in more of a subtle gradation for the sclera there. Hey Barika, welcome to the live stream. Hey CC, how often should I paint? And thank you so much for all the questions. Please, everyone, send me your questions because that's what this video is about. It's about answering questions that anyone that's a beginner painter, and again, I think a beginner painter would be anyone with maybe less than 6 or 7 years painting experience. So, hey CC, how often should I paint if I really want to improve? Question mark. I currently practice once a week. So the frequency and the approach is very important. So your approach to learning. So for instance, there's a lot of hype with the self-taught self-taught artists. There's a lot of hype with that, and there's nothing wrong with being self-taught, but to a certain extent, you have to look at it this way. With a good curriculum, with a good teacher, you can learn things at a much faster rate than you would on your own. So for instance, it may have taken, someone 5 years to have a certain epiphany about form, value, and color. Whereas if they were studying under someone, maybe it would have been in 2 years. So you can definitely learn it all on your own, but I think the right kind of teaching is important. And I mean, not just with me, but you can seek out, other teachers as well. But if you're interested in my teaching, I have my online classes at $10 a month. The frequency, I would say as much as you can. If you can even just sketch for 30 minutes every night, sketch for 15 minutes, the more the better is what I would say. There's no set formula for that. It's like anything. It's like a sport. The more you practice, the stronger and stronger you'll get. Let's see. Hey, David Lawrence. Hey, Douglas. How long does it take to finish a painting? It varies. I mean, sometimes it can take weeks. Other times it can just take hours. It varies on the level of and the amount of shapes that you put in. Hey Nora, do you have a favorite portrait artist? Nelson Shanks, definitely. Nelson Shanks is my favorite portrait artist for sure. And I'm just going right over the shadow, making it a little bit warmer. I don't think it's visible in the photo reference, but it would be visible in nature. Just in the concavity of the eye socket here, there should be some traces of the skin tone underneath bouncing in. It's not visible in the photo reference, but I'm painting it in there. Hey Glenn, have you put many paintings on the market for sale because your work should demand really high prices? Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question, actually. I just posted more paintings for sale today, and the paintings, I have dropped their prices, all of them. So for instance, here is the shop once again. I have a link to my Etsy. For all of these paintings are for sale. They have all been painted here in previous virtual painting sessions. So if you recall any of these paintings that you saw painted live and you are interested in owning the painting that you saw, all of these prices have been dropped. With the exception of the bottom right one, all of these have been painted in a previous virtual painting session here. And here's a close-up image of what the listings look like. So simply just click onto the link to the Etsy page and then confirm your purchase, and I will make the custom box to ship it for you and create your certificate of authenticity. And I did lower the prices in case anyone's wondering. Sales were not doing so good, so I am adjusting the prices accordingly. Let's see. This one will also be for sale after it's complete, by the way. So, where was I? So I'm going to push the reflected light a little bit more than I see it. And you're going to want to experiment. So I always tell my students, my online students, experiment in the middle stages or the upper middle stages. Experiment as much as you can, because sometimes the answers are not quite obvious. They're not as obvious. And this is really the stage where you have to look for more complex information. And the oiling out that we did, although very lightly, but we did oil out the face, it actually helps the paint feel as if it was painted on wet on wet. Hey CC, how do you work out colors for skin tone? I always find that so hard. So usually I start off with a base kind of color, so an underpainting color, which we started off with Flake White and Raw Umber, just monochrome, and then I built onto it more local color, so kind of a skin tone that was very flat, kind of the average skin tone. And now I'm starting to build more color shifts, color changes, pushing things, for instance, warmer as they approach the accent between the eye socket shape here as it wraps underneath of the eye. None of this is visible, unfortunately, with the photo reference. And it's just, that's just the case with the photo references. Like I said, with my online classes, I take all of this step by step. I'm certainly omitting a lot of explanations, but I'm trying my best to add color variation now, whereas before it was mainly value. And the best thing to do is just compare different skin tones to one another, different sections. So it's better to work through comparing shapes than trying to match colors. So if you try to match colors too much, it can get kind of I guess less naturalistic and a little too similar to a photograph. Hey Mike, I like John Singer Sargent as a master. My favorite two paintings of now are Upari, of course. Oh, thank you. And Michael James Smith for his photorealistic paintings. Awesome. Hey Ann Sims. Oh, thank you. Hey Amar. Hello. Thanks, Anne. Hey Mike, have you ever painted starting with gray tonal value instead of umber? Yep, we project 3, which is still ongoing with my online class. We started with a cooler underpainting, and that's the pearl earring Vermeer master study. And yes, definitely way to go, Dondo. Our moderator definitely is helping us out tremendously. Now that I'm going to be moving down here, there's going to be more of a complex color shift, more of a complex color change. So a little bit more red here and more medium. So now I'm going to introduce the concept of glazing. So you glaze, you can glaze however you want, but I usually like to use not as much medium to begin with. See here. Now I'll put in a little shape of warmth and I'll just kind of feed it into the paint surface. Very thin. And oftentimes I'll just get a brush and spread the color. But in this case, it's layering so easily that I don't need to get a scrub brush here. Now I'm pushing the contrast on the side of the nose a little more than need be. And wet on wet, I'm going to adjust it to have a softer edge. We're basically going to be taking each little section here to a finish now. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Ann Sims. I'm painting, well, what am I painting? This is, I'm working on an aluminum panel that has several layers of acrylic, had several layers of acrylic gesso, and then a layer of oil paint. Let the layer of oil paint dry. I toned it, and then it had a underpainting, and then it had a so first of all, it had an oil tone underpainting, first color here, and now we're putting in the second color layer. So we're working on the fourth layer with this one. And again, periodically, I'm going to show the shop that I've just updated. So here, again, you're seeing an example of my paintings that are for sale. I have limited the price, and there's only going to be one available of each one of these, and these have all been created in a previous virtual painting session with the exception of the bottom right one, but the prices have been adjusted accordingly. The link is in my description box for the updated Etsy page. Let's see. Hey, Mike, I missed it, but what is the medium you're using on the bottom right? Thank you so much. Now I can actually talk about mediums. I was actually about to get to that. So this is Venetian Medium by Rublev. This is a little difficult to get. I've found it's not available on Amazon, nor is it available on Amazon. You'd have to purchase it directly from their website or from a local store that sells it. So Venetian Medium is based on research that 16th century Venetian painters added powdered glass to their paint. Contains leaded crystal glass powder, boiled linseed oil with small amounts of wax, turpentine, and lead. So just make sure not to use this as toothpaste or try to eat it or anything, and you're perfectly fine to use it. All jokes aside, though, this is a thixotropic gel-like medium. Means that it's pretty solid when you leave it by yourself, but when you apply a force to it, when you move it, it becomes very fluid. So that's what thixotropic means. I recommend using either Venetian Medium, Liquin from Winsor Newton, Gamblin's Neo McGilp. All of those are gel-like mediums. They're thixotropic, and you can add to your paint as you go. I find that that's one of the simplest ways to use it. But I use cold pressed linseed oil and solvent to oil out. I don't use my painting medium to oil out. And what you want to do when you oil out, as I did in the beginning, so for those of you that missed the beginning, you can definitely rewatch it after the stream is up. I used the sponge and a combination of about 1/5 cold pressed linseed oil to 4/5 of solvent, and just added a little bit of oil to these darks, but not all throughout the painting, just to the darks. Hey, Dr. SK. Oh, wow. Thank you for watching at 3 a.m. Wow. Hey, Mike. Yep, Liquid Original is good. Definitely good. Just remember to oil out. When you oil out, remember, don't do it each time, but when you do have to oil out, make sure to use a combination of solvent and medium. Of course, make sure your painting is thoroughly dry, or you're going to end up subtracting things, and that should be good. Yeah, Liquid is a good one to use. And at the moment, I'm kind of just using a single brush because I'm working one section at a time. Hey, Mike, I'm using distilled turpentine. I'm using the last of it. As you can see in this tube, I have just a tiny bit of it left. But you can also opt out for, I use this too. You can also opt out for Gamsol as well. That's what I'm going to use after I run out of turpentine. Then after I run out of everything, I'll go back to the store. I highly recommend Spike Lavender, though. Spike Lavender is less toxic to breathe in, and it has a really rich history with oil painting. And again, everything I paint here is pretty much going to be for sale at some point in these virtual painting sessions. So any pointers that you may have to help me sell these paintings, let me know. We can work on this together. So, another question that I frequently get is actually about sales. And so let's be practical. The best end result to a painting is someone, is the painting going to a forever home? So the best thing you can possibly do is keep a consistent style or a consistent, keep a consistent body of work. Collectors like to see that. Potential buyers like to see that. And that kind of is not something you really have to work on. It's just your own individual style that shows through. But sometimes it's difficult to sell if you're jumping between, like abstract or jumping from abstract to super realism, or jumping from super realism to like collage work. So it could be difficult if you jump in styles a little too much. Hey Mike, I've just ordered some Spike Lavender. Oh, awesome. I have also run out of Spike Lavender. I'm kind of running low on materials. So Spike Lavender, it will make your studio smell like a spa. Like I really like Spike Lavender. It takes a little while to get used to it, but trust me on this. You'll much rather have the nice lavender odor than the distilled turpentine odor. And even though they say odorless mineral spirits is odorless, it's not. It eventually does have a type of oil or scent to it that's not the most pleasant. Spike Lavender is definitely the best choice. So congratulations on your purchase of Spike Lavender. Hey Ann, when is the next stream? Should be, so today's Wednesday, should be Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey Edward Soto, you should read Art Money Success. It is a bunch of strategies on making money as an artist. So that's a good tip for everyone else and for myself, for all of us, to check this out. Again, very useful information. So thank you so much. Hey Troy, how dry is the paint when you start working on it a new day? So I make sure to check it with like a razor on the thickest portion of the paint film, just to make sure that nothing lifts off. So it should be touch dry when you rework it. And again, I worked on this Monday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, so we're about 48 hours later, and it's touch dry. The biggest difference with water mixable oil paints and traditional is that, actually, if I were using water mixable, for instance, that wolf that I painted a couple weeks ago is still not completely dry, so I wasn't able to put it for sale yet. Now I'm adding a little bit of a pinkish tone, glazing slightly, and now I'm gonna get a clean and dry synthetic. Hey Mike, I use lavender in the bathroom and bedroom and love it. Yep, it's a nice smell. Hey Mulad, welcome to the stream. So let's talk about glazing now. It's a very frequently asked question. I don't usually glaze over an entire section, though I have, but I usually just glaze one spot at a time, as you're seeing here, and then just spread the paint with a clean and dry synthetic brush. Apologize, I can't quite read what you're writing there. And if you like this stream, please do me a favor and hit the like button for the stream. I usually forget to say that, but it does help with these streams. It does help with the channel as a whole. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is add a little more subtlety down towards the bottom of the mouth, and I'm going to push it a little bit cooler. So I'm going to use yellow ochre and ivory black. Yellow ochre, ivory black gives a nice kind of greenish tone. Again, I don't see it in the photo reference at all, but I'm assuming that there would be some color variation there. Hey Douglas, welcome back. Hey Mike, is it true that although dry to the touch, oil can take years to dry? Yeah, that is true. To a certain extent, like, art conservationists are very scientific. So the paint film can change over the years, which is usually why it's recommended to use Demar varnish after 6 months. But what I'm using, oh, thanks, Stephen. What I'm using is Gamvar. I'm going to type it for you. I use Gamvar. From now on, I'm going to be using Gamvar. It's a varnish that you can use while the paintings are touch dry. So there's Gamvar. Unfortunately, it's not within my reach because I was just varnishing paintings, so it's across the room from me. Hey Donda, what happened to the UFO painting? Oh, you're right. The UFO painting. Did I not post it here? Not that one. Oh, you're right. Oh, thanks for pointing that out, Dondo. Yep, that one will be for sale soon too. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. And here I thought I had put all of them on there. So I'm missing the UFO one, which is still for sale. Which, I mean, it's obviously going to be for sale. Thanks for pointing that out, Dondo. That's why I didn't notice it, because it's in a different room. It's hanging on a wall in a different room in the house. And I didn't notice it. Thank you. So whereas before this was just kind of a generic rectangular shape, now it's starting to take form. And even the light on the hair is going to have some values to it. Hey Mike, are you working down the face? The chin looks a little flat. I am working, you're right, I am working down a little bit. I'm going to just be working all throughout the face. The chin could be flat. Let me see. Yeah, I have to put some more volume to the side of the face there. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to get to that right after putting a little bit of light for the hair. And with the hair, with dark hair, you want to think of it like light on, like daylight on trees, meaning the light isn't going to be as bright as we think it is. So I'm actually trying to go down in value a little bit here. So another thing that oftentimes will confuse beginners to painting, or portrait painting in particular, is what color to make the light on the hair. In particular with dark hair, I usually recommend using skin tones. In this case, since we're glazing a little bit, I'm going extra warm because the tone underneath is going to make the color appear cool. See that? Now I'm going to get a scrubby scrub brush. Hey, Bryden. Oh, thank you. Hey, Steven. I watched a documentary about Van Gogh made by scientists who said that some of his paintings are still not fully cured after 100 years. I've heard that too, actually. That some of Van Gogh's paintings are still in the middle of drying. Oh, okay. So looks like we have a painting has now been purchased. So, as I said, all of these paintings are for sale. Currently, one has been purchased. I don't know which one has been purchased yet because I haven't logged into Etsy. But all of these paintings are first come, first serve. So definitely check out the link to my Etsy. And I'll be emailing you afterwards. Hey Douglas, you have become my favorite painter for real. Oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me. Thanks, Douglas. And so after I put a little more light on the hair, I'm going to transition into the chin to fix the flatness of the chin. And then we'll possibly work around it. All right, so now let's get to the chin. Hey Monique, what about selling some of your studies? Unfortunately, not a lot of them exist to this day. Yeah, usually the paintings that I deemed to be unsellable, I painted over or chopped up. So some of my studies, for some of my YouTube paintings, it's going to be hard to say this, but only a handful of them survive to this date. Hey Kathy. Oh, all right. The coffee mug and friend is now Kathy is awesome. So I will be getting the box ready for you, Kathy. Thank you so much, Kathy. And again, everyone, the paintings are first come, first serve. And yep, Dondo, I'm gonna put the UFO painting there. That was a good one that you got, Kathy. I was looking at it. I mean, I like them all, but definitely the coffee mug was a fun one to create. So let's change the scene a little bit here. So back to here. So now the second to the right on the bottom is now Kathy's painting. So that means the other ones are still available as of right now. And I'm going to be adding the landscape with the UFO painting in the sky shortly. So by tomorrow it should be added onto here. Hey Troy, is it all right to submit a piece to you for stylistic feedback on Patreon? Yeah, definitely. You can submit it as your monthly, your monthly mentor tier critique. So remember, for the online classes, my students can send me, in addition to the class projects, they can send me their original artworks each month to be also added into the virtual classroom. All right, let's move into the chin. I've been kind of avoiding the chin. Hey, Red Angry Bird. I miss playing those games. Good day to you as well. Thanks for watching from Australia. Oh, another question that I got. This actually is a question that I get frequently in my online classes. Is it okay to sell paintings from are created as class projects, and yes, you can. And the other common question I get is it okay to sell paintings of which you used copyright-free images? And yes, you can. It's actually part of the, especially if you use something like Unsplash or Pexels, it's in the fine writing that artists can sell their own original artworks using the copyright-free images. So I'm going to overdo the dark around the chin and then cut back into it. And I'm working a little bit thick. So see how when I go light, I go thicker. When I go dark, such as here and here, I go thinner. So I add more medium to make it thinner. So you do want to vary the consistency of the paint. So let's see, we got another question in. Hey, Garnis. Is there a rule when glazing as to start with the lighter color first and then darker? For example, night sky starting with the Alizarin crimson layers over the dead layer and then Prussian blue ones. Usually you want to glaze darker and warmer, which is why I'm going more opaque in the lights. So most of the glazing is actually in the halftones. That's why I don't usually glaze the entire picture. Hey, see, Gohis. Oh, watching from Greece. Awesome. Hey, Douglas, do you only paint human faces or do you paint other things? Excellent question. And again, I'm going to go back to the screenshot of the Etsy shop. So, whoops, I gotta keep clicking the wrong button. So there, we painted a kitten, a tea kettle with a strawberry, 3 glasses there, a rooster, a pumpkin, distant mountains, and the coffee mug, which Kathy now owns, and then the bottom right one was another still life. So we do paint other subject matter, and I will be starting another still life after this one. Let's see. Hey, Pavlo. Probably needs more shadow below the cheekbones for better likeness. Oh, good. Let me see. Underneath the cheekbones. I see what you're pointing out. Yep, you're right. I'm going to actually add a little more reflected light there than is in the photo reference. So I see that. Thanks, Pablo. Thank you, Pawnshot. Hey, Monique, will you have more portrait paintings for sale soon? Yep, this one will be for sale as soon as the painting is complete. So let's go ahead and paint that in before I forget. Now I can add other portrait paintings like the. I'll show you one that I'm thinking of adding for sale, and it's more of a study. Do you remember the Van Dyke one? I actually kind of didn't want to continue painting it because I liked the way it looked. So I'm thinking of adding that one, but of course I have to add a signature. But I'm considering adding that one for sale. Of course it will be signed after Van Dyke. So another thing that is kind of is asked but not as much is about the art of owning paintings or purchasing original paintings. And you always have to consider whenever you buy original art, consider it as an investment. Though it may look, it may look well in your living room and wherever you hang it. Also consider that it is an investment. We artists, our prices usually vary throughout the years, but it does add up after a certain number of years. So you want to consider it as an investment. I own 2 paintings from artists that I've met in the past, and I cherish them. And I do consider them as investments. Hey, Mitchell. So Mitchell, you can catch the whole process. Actually, all of the footage is actually available on YouTube. But usually the schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last time I had the stream at 5:30, but it's usually around that time. Oh, right here. I'm going to take a step back. So right now this is a little too flat for me, so I'm going to push the dark. And again, I'm going to be editing the photo reference a lot, or the painting from the photo reference. I wouldn't recommend doing this while using Flake White, but you only live once. Hey, Douglas, I don't see her left hair very well. The hair to our left. Yep, I'm going to be getting to that as well. Thank you for pointing that out. Hey, Douglas, are you from India? My family is from Peru, from Lima, Peru. I was born and raised in Maryland, U.S. Some say I have a Maryland accent or a Baltimore accent. So we usually say Baltimore, and everyone else says Baltimore. So we say Baltimore, and then others say Baltimore. So that's one way you can tell a Maryland accent. Just ask them to say Baltimore, and we'll say Baltimore. It's a little fun fact there. And you know what I've envisioned is that I'm going to paint in the values for the background, and I'm going to put some traces here of the leaves pointing towards the face, some traces of the leaves this way, to add more to the composition. I'm definitely editing, and that's another frequently asked question. Do you stay true to the photo reference or the model, or do you put in something of your own imagination? And with this one, I'm definitely using a lot of imagination for sure. Let's see. Hey Mitchell. No, this one isn't Alla Prima. The beginning of it was actually kind of a hybrid of an Alla Prima and classical approach. But no, this is wet on dry for the most part, even though we did oil out. So this is more of the classical approach. But I have shown you a hybrid classical Alla Prima / Alla Prima approach. I usually teach through the classical approach. I think it's the easiest way to get into painting. So for my online students, I show a bunch of steps before what we did in the beginning of this. So this is kind of my own individual process that I use. Hey Troy, quick question. What surface do you squeeze cheap oil paints on to soak up? some of the oil. I use paper towels, actually. You know what? I'm going to show you how I do that. Just because this video is intended to be for everyone that's just getting into painting or wants to know more about it. So take this for instance. This is Winsor Violet, and the tube is bubbly. See here, if I see, that's straight oil that's coming out of this tube. So I'll show you what I do. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question, by the way. Let me get this out of here before I accidentally put purple in skin tones. By the way, whatever you do, do not put purple in skin tones. I usually don't say don't do something, but purple in skin tones is a bad omen. Or like any kind of phthalo blue, I wouldn't put any of that. So this is what you want to do. Get paper towel. So everyone, if you have a paint tube that's too oily, what you want to do is get a piece of paper towel. And what you're going to do is something similar to a nosebleed. You're going to put the paper towel into the paint tube. This is what I frequently do if my paint tube has too much oil. And you're going to flip it over and let it sit like this overnight. And the next day, you'll notice that the paper towel has absorbed a ton of excess oil. So this will help to get rid of the excess oil. And I don't really use violet that often, so I'm going to just cover the tube back up. And that was just for the sake of demonstration there. Hey, Alizarin, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Hello, how much costs this painting? This will be, I'm going to keep them all at about the same price to try to just keep everything the same. So do you see this? I'm going to show you this pumpkin one. When I want the pumpkin, I click the other one. It will be at this price, 255 US. All of them are going to be at this price. The ones that I'm going to put on Etsy. And I have lowered the prices to make it a little more marketable. But once this one is done, it'll be listed on Etsy. Maybe in the next two streams, it will be posted on there, but it will be that price. Hey, Jimena, bravo. Hello there from Peru. My family's actually from Peru. I actually ate a little bit of a arroz con leche earlier today. Hey, Julie, Diana 1. What's the best way to look after your painting when you're finished? I hang them on the walls. The ones that I'm going to save, I put on the walls like immediately. It's the best way to save them from damage. So usually if I keep a painting on the side of the floor or something, they will get damaged. So all the ones that I know I'm going to sell, I put on the wall. I hang them. I usually hang them in this room, but some of them I've hung in the other room across from me. Hey, Alice, oh, thank you. Thanks, Troy. All right, have I missed any questions here? Hey, Nader, I think I missed your question. Hello there, Nader. Ariana, any tips on choosing photo references? Thank you for the question. That is a very good question, and it's going to help a lot of people out. So the photo references, to be honest, there's no one perfect photo reference. Despite the quality of the camera, what I would suggest, this is my number one tip for suggesting or for selecting photo references. My number one tip is make sure there is a single light source. A single light source. So if you're seeing here on this photo reference, I chose it because it's very clear where the light and shadow is. Now, there's a whole bunch of differences here because I didn't paint it exactly like that, but the number one suggestion I have for photo references, everyone, is to make sure there is a single light source. If you're working from a photo reference taken from like a smartphone where there's lights all over the place and the person is smiling, maybe out of focus, that can be very difficult to paint from, and it can sometimes compromise your painting to a certain extent. So thank you for that question. Hey Monique, as a collector, I know what you mean about paintings being an investment. I think uh, a collector should enjoy and take care of and show off their collection as well. I am a collector of 2 paintings. I have two paintings that are not mine. Hey Stephen, is a classical approach a term commonly used in the USA? I often hear the term traditional used in the UK. The word traditional is also used here in the US. They're just interchangeable. They mean the same thing, Stephen. But we usually say either classical or traditional as well. Hey Monique, and broaden their search to local artists as well. International for new opportunities. I hope to own one of your portrait paintings one day. Oh, thank you. For instance, this one will be for sale soon after it's complete. And I think I'm going to actually end up completing it today. So let me cover the rest of the background now and then move back in towards the center focus. So this is what I envision for the painting. I want to put some little element here. I'm just sketching it out right now of the leaf or the leaves going towards here, and then something here. And I'm just sketching this idea right now. I think that this goes well with, yeah, something like this going towards the eyes. And then this will be dark. So let me, or actually this will be dark. This will be light, just so it's not so predictable. More medium. Hey, Ariana, my family has really southern paintings in our home. American flag paintings, vintage landscapes, The Last Supper. Awesome. You know what? Oh, I got a good story for everyone. I'm not gonna say where or who, but I took a painting workshop when I was in my, I guess, late teens or whatever. I guess like 19 or something. And it was when I just started painting. Remember how I said my favorite painter of all when I first started, and she's still one of my favorite painters, is Elizabeth Vigée-Lebrun. Yo, someone owns a Vigée-Lebrun. Someone has a Vigée-Lebrun hanging, or had one, I don't know if they still have it, hanging in their living room. So we took a workshop, outdoor painting workshop a long time ago, and it was at this estate. And the person that owned the estate let us in for lunch or whatever. And I was just looking, I was geeking out. I looked out to the side of the living room, and I quickly noticed the painting that the Vigée-Lebrun, and I asked him, I'm like, is this a Vigée-Lebrun? Oh yeah, yes it is a Vigée-Lebrun. And I was just geeking out. I was just geeking out at that point. I think, Cesar Santos, I'm sure everyone knows who that is. He owns a Bouguereau, like a Bouguereau study of some sort. I mean, can you imagine owning a Bouguereau? I'd be nervous. That would be too much responsibility. But of course, when you're Cesar Santos, you can own any painting you want. Nelson Shanks also has his family has it now, but Nelson Shanks in his lifetime had accumulated a really nice collection. I remember seeing old master paintings leaned up against each other. Of course, the frame on frame, not the actual painting, of course. I was so fortunate in my younger years to be able to see all of that. To be able to see, museum paintings in people's homes or studios was crazy. And I hope that these paintings will be that at some point in the future. That's what I hope. So whenever you do buy one of these paintings, I will give you certificate of authenticity with the matching signature, so you know exactly that it was mine. I painted it, so there would be no dispute about it. Let's see. Oh, hey Douglas, you know Cesar Santos? Awesome. Well, tell him I said hi. Let's see if I missed anything. Apologize if I missed any questions. I kind of went off on a tangent there. Hey Monique, you love portraits. I do too. Who is the artist? LeBron. I'm going to type her last name out. If you type up her last name, and again, there's an accent on the E, but I didn't write the accent. If you look up the name LeBron, her first name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth Louise Vijay LeBrun. She was a wonderful portrait artist around the time of Marie Antoinette, around those times. So that's the name I would look up. There you go. Thanks, J Rob, and with the accent and everything. Hey, Paint Trips Podcast. Do you normally paint in silence? Actually, no. I usually paint either. So if I'm painting off camera, I usually paint with Netflix playing. I'm about to start the new season of the 100. That was one of my one of the shows that I like to watch, and they just came out with a new season. So I usually have Netflix playing. Sometimes I'll put music. When I listen to music and paint, it's usually like 90s hip hop music. Hey Douglas, but we need more people like you in the world of art to make art take over. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words. This is what I envisioned for the background. Something dark here, but I'm going to put some... I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't need it. What do you think? I might put some of the leaves here, but I think it might detract from this. Hey Glenn, when Corona is over, I want to travel to view art, Florence, Paris, etc. Where would you like to visit to view art? I would like to go back to New York. I know that's not very far away from me, but I would like to go back to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I would also, if I could travel anywhere, I would like to go to Amsterdam to see the Rembrandt paintings, especially the Night Watch. I would really like to see that in person. And of course, there's the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. Hey, Mike Drop Paint. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Hey, Douglas Arts. Music. I also draw while listening to music. Yep. If when I'm just getting started, like when I'm doing the initial drawing and everything's like all kind of crazy, that's usually when the 90s hip hop is playing on my headphones. And then the speed usually slows down as I move in towards the middle stages, and then I let Netflix play. 90s hip hop is also my favorite for exercise too. Let's see. No leaves would go to Spain for me. Okay, no leaves. I won't put the leaves. I was thinking the same thing. I don't think it needs the leaves. I think I'll just even this out and put a variation of tone, and I think that would be good for the background. Hey Douglas, thanks to Glenn Bennett. What have I missed? Monique, you like the suggestion of the leaf? Dondo says no leaves. I don't know. I feel like feel like the leaf would detract. I think what I might do is a ray of light. It's already starting to look like a ray of light. I think I'm going to stick with a ray of light. Somewhat a la Rembrandt. Let's see. Hey, Steven. Whilst I was painting today, I was listening to classic rock and listening to one of your videos at the same time. Awesome. Hey, Paint Trips podcast. Do you like Guido Reni? Okay, I gotta take a look at this one. The name rings a bell, but I don't quite know. Hey, Journey, or Gurney. Gurnil, sorry, I mispronounced your name there. Hey, Edward Soda, I'm 29. 29 years old. I'm turning 30 in March, and I'm also getting married in March. So March is going to be very interesting for me. Hey Bruno, the Night Watch from Rembrandt hangs in okay, I don't know if I can pronounce that one, in Amsterdam. Oh, I would love to see that. Hey Monique, yep, we'll put the ray of light. We'll put the ray of light. Thank you. Hey Garniel, oh thank you. Thanks Edward. Yeah, I'm really excited. Gonna be married, everyone. I'm gonna be married. But in any case, trying to steer the conversation towards painting. Now what I'm doing, as you're seeing here, this is a glaze. All of this is a glaze. So when I work darker, I work with more medium. See that? I'm almost out of my medium. And then I'm just slowly building my way towards the light. Remember when I started to put the skin tones, I said that it's easier to layer darker. And I always say this to my students, my online students. I always say it's easier to layer darker, and now you're seeing why. Let's see. Oh, thanks. Thanks for all the congratulations, everyone. Hey, Dondo. Oh, thank you. Hey, Bruno. So I'm roughly twice as old as you, 58 in November. No worries. Age isn't really like I was saying. One of my students, when I was teaching in-person classes before the world ended, he started painting at the age of 90, and man, he learned so fast, so fast. He had limited mobility of his hands. His hand would like shake a little bit, but it would create a style. He had a certain style to his paintings, and man, he learned so much. So you can learn at any age if you're motivated. I believe you can learn anything. All right, let's get to that ray of light. So another frequently asked question is, how do you choose background colors? How do you paint backgrounds? And that's a very good thing to talk about now, as we're going to get into the background. Let me show you how I approach painting a ray of light. So I start with one corner. And the light will progress. It will project. See, I'm kind of scattering the light a little bit. Now I need to add more. And I would probably use titanium white, but I've been using flake white for the whole thing, so I'm going to just stick with flake white. So start with one corner, and introduce the ray of light. And then you're going to just kind of blend everything across it. Hey, Mitchell, if you wanted to follow along and paint, or if I wanted to follow along and paint with you on a portrait, what video would you recommend? So I'll start off with the YouTube ones, and then I'll talk about the online class ones. I would say for the YouTube ones, this might be the best option because everything is shown on camera, though I skipped a lot of steps. But if I'm going to compare this to my other uploads, this one might be the best one starting from the beginning. There are 3 streams. This is the 3rd stream associated with this painting. I think we're going to finish it in the 3rd stream, but I'd say this one. Now, overall, I think that project 2 for my online classes is you can start with any project with my online classes, but project 2 is the most beginner friendly. And I usually recommend that one to new students because it has the full transfer drawing process. And each one of my lessons, each one of my projects has a associated drawing template or templates. And the drawing templates are drawing aids, meaning similar to the Barg method. Those of you that may have heard the Barg method, I do progressions of outline. So first the envelope, and then the beginning block in, and then the finished block in. And I usually have when I'm filming, I have the template here, and I show my students how to use the template. But you can follow along with this one as well. And actually, one of my students is doing a wonderful job painting along with this same image. So awesome work, Barbara, if you're here. And now you're seeing how the ray of light is transitioning a little bit here. It's kind of a greenish, neutralized greenish tone, like an olive kind of tone. Hey Edward, it's been fun, but sadly I have to go study. Have an exam this week. Good luck on your exam. Hope everything goes well, buddy. Yeah, I think the ray of light is a good addition to the background here. And of course, in the bottom, so that's pretty much the ray of light. But in the bottom, I think that I'm going to make some adjustments here because this is still kind of vague there. And then we're actually almost done with this. So please feel free to ask any questions. I did talk about the most frequently asked questions possible that I could come up with. But any questions that you have. Another question that I often get is how do you know when a painting is complete? And what I usually do is take a painting to the point where I've said everything I wanted to say. And once I've said everything I need to say, there's often a feeling that you get when you've completed a painting and you know it's complete. It's an instinctual kind of thing. Hey Monique, oh thank you. Hey Douglas, hello, I'm back, but now I can see the difference. I'm satisfied. Oh, thank you. Hey Doreen. Beautiful. It's nice that you left out the tree branch blocking her arm and shoulder. Well, thank you. Yeah, I edited this one a lot from the photo reference. Again, anyone interested, this one will be for sale. And maybe in the next 2 streams, I'll give you the updated Etsy listings page. So what was I talking about? This is a little vague, so I'm going to go and add more specificity there. So yeah, there's a certain feeling that you get when you take a painting to completion. It's an instinctual kind of change in your mindset. It's kind of like someone's taking an exam, right? It's kind of like when you're taking an exam and you've answered all the questions in the exam, and you know, like your instinct is, I've studied all of this time, I know everything that I put down is, correct, and I'm ready to submit. Something similar to that, but less stressful. Let's see. Hey, Paint Trips podcast. I think there was a rumor that Guido Reni had an assassin attempt to kill him. Uh-oh. The assassination was sent by a group of artists that did not want him painting a mural in his town. Uh-oh. That's not good. Hey, Monique. Let's see. Paint Trips podcast. So you're saying yes, please. I think I missed something here. Okay, I think I may have missed something. Do you mean to the painting being for sale, or? I hope that's what you mean. So the listing for this one should be up in I'd say the next 2 streams. But after this, I want to start a still life. And then, for Halloween, I'm going to be looking for Halloween images for a Halloween style painting. Hey, Paint Trips podcast. What are your thoughts on how some artists dislike others? I usually don't focus on that. Tell you what. Yeah, I might get in some trouble here. Oftentimes, certain art groups can be kind of cliquey, and I usually avoid that. You may know certain art groups that are a little bit cliquey. I don't like to be like that. I like to be as open to every, every viewer as possible, as open to everyone as possible. And so I don't think there's a reason to dislike anyone's artwork, because it's when you create a work of art, you put a little bit of yourself, it's a little bit of your very core into your art. And that's a very personal thing, though it does have a lot of, study associated with it. It's a very personalized thing. And so when someone attacks someone else's artwork, it's like attacking their very core. So I try to avoid that. Another question that I often get asked as a representational painter, what do you think about abstract art and things like that selling for millions? And for me, to each their own. Like if someone really, really wants to buy a more abstract painting than say a Caravaggio, that's okay. I mean, it's down to your preference. Oftentimes it's more of a market thing, but it's all down to the person's preference. So yeah, great question there, Paint Trips podcast. So remember, anyone, just beginning with painting, remember when I work lighter here, I work more opaque. Darker, I work more transparent. And I'm not using solvent to thin paint. I'm using medium. Hey, Karam. Well, apologize. The most recent message, I don't know how to read it. Oh, right. And another tip for everyone. So when you first, when you finish your painting, I actually recommend to photograph it as soon as you finish it while the painting is still wet. Then after you varnish it, re-photograph it, and then compare the two images to your original painting. I highly recommend that because it gives you more, more of a chance to get the best photograph. Though ultimately, what you want to do is use the photograph of the painting after it was varnished, but they will be the same. So when you varnish it, it will look the same as when the painting was wet. There's no difference between the two, but oftentimes when you photograph something multiple times, so my photographers watching, you know what I'm talking about. It's better to have multiple photographs than to just rely on a single photograph of something, because mainly the lighting. Sometimes the lighting can be different in different situations. So Steven, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, as I know you're a photographer. Hey, Michelle, yeah, I don't understand Banksy selling for millions. Like I was saying, I mean, it's there's something else to it. It's a marketing aspect to it. Those paintings or those artworks may very well drop in value at some point in the future, so it really depends on the market. Let's see. Hey, Steven, you mean the way Picasso and his friends attacked Bouguereau and the French academic painters in the last century? Yeah, yeah, I mean exactly that. Do you know which Bouguereau I'm talking about? Bouguereau even painted a painting specific, like a model, like turned with a bunch of angels surrounding her, and it was actually kind of meant to kind of represent how all the young artists at the time were like attacking him and stuff. So that yeah, that's what I meant with like the clicky type of thing. So I think that's about good for the shoulder. I think we're almost there actually with this one. Hey Stephen, indeed I do. And we're referring to how it's better to have multiple photographs. Indeed I do. And the best single light source is the sun. Definitely. But you know what, Stephen? The UV light of the sun actually affects the way that the colors look when photographed sometimes. So that can be kind of difficult. So if you ever take your paintings out in the sunlight and it looks different, it's because the UV light can actually make it appear different. So just fun facts there. And I'm going to put a shadow side to the strap, and then please feel free to ask any questions. Again, I'm moving a little bit faster than I intended to. I didn't intend to move this fast. So please ask me as many questions. Anything that's on your mind painting related, please make sure that you know, no curse words or anything like that. So anything that's painting related, because I've kind of already exhausted all of the questions that I had in mind. I can talk about photography as well, since we're just on that subject of your paintings. So actually, I will talk about that as you're writing your questions. So I recommend a 45-degree angle on the x-axis, so this way, and a 45-degree on the z-axis, meaning this way. So if we're looking at a coordinate system, you know, not to complicate it, right? You have the x and y plane. This just means 2 dimensions. The z-axis here means, again, the 3rd dimension. So a 45 in this plane here, on this plane, picture a 45-degree angle here. Imagine this is making a 45-degree here, and then a 45 here. That is actually the same lighting setup that I have right now. So the light setup that you're seeing right now is based on a 45-degree angle on the horizontal and a 45-degree angle on the vertical. Hey, Stephen. Yes, but they did it for purely a business sense. However, the U.S. greatly benefited from this, as most of his paintings went to America after that period. True. There's a little bit of that too. Hey, Batel, can you explain the importance of priming and if it's really necessary? Yes, thank you. This is very important, I will say. Very good question. So I'm working on aluminum panel. And usually when you're working on a metal or wooden, any kind of sturdy support, this guarantees you pretty much that your painting will last throughout the years, even more so than a stretched painting. You know, the conditions may vary, obviously, but the idea is that you want to prepare your surface such that over the hundreds of years, it doesn't take in too much moisture. So you want to close off the surface with your gesso. That is, I use this one right here, Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. Highly recommend the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. Not the basics, though I've used it. The basics is not as good. So definitely go with Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. And what I do is I add about 5 layers to the surface of the gesso. So for example, Kathy, your painting that you now own, that one also had several layers of the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. The only surface that I don't add extra gesso is on, I'll type it here. Okay, so it's going to look like I misspelled board, but this is actually how they spell it. I don't know why. I'll get to the questions here in a second. This is my highly recommended surface or panel. This is the one that I recommend to all of my students. Ampersand Gesso Board Museum Series. And I know it looks like I misspelled board, but it's spelled without the A. That one has such a good surface, such a good primer, that I don't add any extra gesso. In fact, I just, as soon as I get it, I oil tone it and it's ready to go. Hey Monique, can you buy those aluminum panels already primed? Yes, you can, but I recommend just priming it on your own, because the ones that are sold primed already, from the pictures, it looks like they use a foam roller or something. And I always recommend priming your own surfaces, because you can control the texture of your surface. But great question. And yes, to your question, you can buy them primed. Hey, Michelle, do you prefer classical approach with grisaille in the first layer? So Michelle, I actually utilized a mix between the classical approach and the alla prima. The underpainting was done alla prima style, whereas the way I teach is to start with outlines first and then separate light and dark and then go into values. Instead, I jumped right into values with this one. So I used a mix. Let's see. Hey Monique, or does it just need acrylic gesso? I just used the acrylic gesso, Monique. You can actually see it on the back of this. You can see a little bit, actually, you can see a lot here of the gesso on the back surface, back of the surface here. Yep, Monique, it's that simple. And let's see. So any more questions about technique? I'm going to be standing back and adjusting a few more things in the painting, but it should be, for the most part, mostly done. In fact, I think it is mostly done. Yep, everyone please like the video if you do like the video. And yeah, does anyone see anything that I need to adjust here? Not relative to the photo reference, but just as a painting. Because I've kind of exhausted everything on the painting. I like this kind of dramatic light. I didn't realize I would move this fast today. Hey Juan González. Hola, Yupari, ¿hablas español? Sí, puedo hablar español, pero muy poquito. Y muy terrible. My Spanish is really bad. Hey Monique, what is the size of this? This is 9 by 12 inches. If somebody wants to type the conversion to centimeters for me. Hey Steven, yep, I haven't signed it yet. I'm waiting to see if somebody is going to point something out that can be adjusted. But I've kind of exhausted everything. I think I've completed it at this point. Hey Monique, it is 9 by 12 inches. And again, this will be for sale at the same price as the other ones. Hey Naima, oh thank you. So if no one has any suggestions, I think I'm gonna sign it on the top over there, but I'm gonna wait to see if anyone has any suggestions. Hey Troy, so I know a painting will be finished when I have overwhelming anxiety and panic about not knowing any answers to the exam. Oh no. If it's a math exam, I might be able to help you. There we go. So about 30 by 23 centimeters. That's the size of this one. And I want to say, so since this is geared towards answering questions for everyone that's beginning, my biggest suggestion is to seek out the right training. Those of you that are just beginning. Now, if you don't like how I paint, you can definitely look into other resources. But I do have online classes available at $10 a month if anyone is interested. And the way I have the online classes set up, I'll talk a little bit more about that, I guess, closer towards the end. So I want to just answer the questions here. So, hey Michelle, the aluminum panels have canvas adhered? No, it's just aluminum. They do sell the aluminum panels with canvas mounted to it, but I like to paint onto a solid support when I'm working on panels. Whenever I'm working on canvas, I actually prefer the bouncy the bouncy quality to the canvas. So let me talk about edges. Let me talk about edges now as another tip, another piece of advice for beginners and experienced painters alike. So edge quality is very important, and I've been talking about it throughout the painting, but I didn't explain it too much as I was painting this. So edge quality, let me explain how I've used it here. So see this? I've sharpened here. See this? I've softened here. Why is that? So this is softer than this because I want more attention focused here and less here. This is sharper than this because I want more attention here and less attention here. The lips are sharper than the bottom of the chin because, again, I want more attention here. This whole edge is softer than this edge because I want more attention drawn towards it. This is sharper because it's a value contrast. So when you have a value contrast, an extreme light contrasted by an extreme dark will inevitably create a sharper edge. Also, there are physical sharper edges, and I actually talked about this in more detail early this morning when I was filming this morning's lesson. So for my online students, I gave them this example here. This is a very sharp edge. Physically, it's a very sharp edge. Now, if you look here, this is not a very sharp edge. So there are edges that are quite literally sharper and demand a sharper edge. So the only instance here where that occurred was there. This edge, if I made it too soft, would be a little weird. And see here how this is softer? This is the comparison. This is analogous to the palette knife. Whereas this, since it's round, is analogous to this tube of medium. So now you see how the edge has been varied here and here. That is not noticeable in the photo reference, at least to me. The photo reference is flat in the sense that this edge looks like the same edge quality as this edge in the photo reference, which is what flattens the image in the photo reference. Hey Juan González, ¿existe algún tipo de disciplina para mejorar en la pintura? So what Juan is asking if there is a certain discipline that can help one to improve on their painting. So yes, I would say so. I highly recommend learning the traditional or classical approach, meaning starting off with a very careful drawing, very careful block in. So Juan, let me see if I can answer this in Spanish. Lo que recomiendo es practicar el dibujo en la manera de usar solamente líneas simplificadas para construir los colores y I don't know how to say tones, the tones, para construir los colores encima de las líneas que dibujas exactamente, meaning, see, there we go, my Spanish is not good. So I highly recommend having that drawing foundation to build onto your painting. Now, there's a way that you can utilize drawing to benefit your painting, and then there's a way that you can improve on your drawing but not necessarily transfer all of it to painting. So essentially, mastering the art of the simple linear block-in is one of the most important tools to all of painting, not just portrait painting. So that's why I create these things called drawing templates for my online students. The drawing templates are, again, I make one for the basic envelope. I make one for the introduction to the block-in. And then I make one for the finished block-in. In particular, Project 3 has the best example, the Vermeer, because that one went further into light and shadow. So, so thank you for the question, Juan. Apologize, my Spanish is not very good. See, when I start to speak anything art related in Spanish, I don't know anything. I really don't. I only know what you've taught me here on these streams. Hey Monique, I used to paint portraits in oil, but it has been so long, several years just drawing for now, but I need to get back on the bike, so to speak. You're motivating me to paint as well. Oh, thank you. And again, if you really like, please check out the classes. And also, everyone that's interested, let me type in my Gmail in case you're on the fence. Meaning, in case you're still undecided. So, Yupari, the artist, gmail.com. Let's see. There you go. So there's my Gmail. So anyone that's interested in the online classes and would like to have a free sample, I usually send out the ending of Project 1 as the free sample. So in case you're not quite sure if you want to take my online classes, please feel free to email me, and I will get back to you about the online classes. So I think I've kind of exhausted all of the possible questions. So now, since no one said anything, I'm assuming that the painting is all right to sign. Yep, feel free to send me an email, Monique. All right, so let's sign this. I'm going to sign the top left. And this painting will be for sale. Hey, Steven. Oh, I'm glad that you're enjoying the classes. Hey, Troy, more of a comment, but social media's apparent love of hyperrealism grinds my gears. I love a bold painting where you can still see the brushstrokes. I feel the same way. I don't usually like to take something to a super finish. Hey Bert, 2008 before 6-9, just back from dinner. What did I miss out on? I think we've completed the painting, but the footage will be available. I'm really struggling to find anything. You know, one thing I usually do is look at the painting through a mirror, or I'll turn it upside down. So I'm going to actually turn it upside down. Sometimes when the painting is upside down, I see something that I didn't see perhaps earlier on. So earlier, I was actually worried about the eye, a little too far to the left, but I don't think that's an issue. See if I compare how much of the iris we have here to here. It seems to make sense. So I think we have completed it. Hey Bert, 2008 before 6-9. Yep. Yeah, I think it's ready to sign. All right, let's drop a signature. Thanks, Bert. So I hope that in this lesson, well, not lesson, but in this See, I'm confusing the two. Because this morning I was doing the actual lesson, the lesson for my online students, and today I was doing the virtual painting session. Sometimes I mix them up and I say painting session during my lesson, and then I say lesson during my painting session. So anytime I mix the two, I apologize for that. There was one time, I don't know if you've caught this, there was one time I was filming on a Wednesday and was speaking throughout the video as if it was Monday. I don't know how I did that, but for some reason I thought it was Monday on a Wednesday. Because I'm just so focused on the painting and on the dialogue. I forget things like that. Hey Steven, some of the most interesting paintings in the National Portrait Gallery are the unfinished ones by unknown artists that are hundreds of years old. Awesome. Yeah, I do feel the same way, especially with the unfinished ones. Hey Michelle, how thick is the aluminum panel? Not very thick. It's, so you can see here. I'd say it's about like a millimeter, and it's not straight aluminum either. There is a piece of fiber in between the sheets of aluminum. Hey Batel, how would you describe your art style? I think that's for everyone else to describe. I think as artists, we're usually so engulfed in our work that we oftentimes don't really know what our style is. For me, I think it's more of a mix between, I guess, representational realism and more like expressive work, I'd say. Hey Bert, 2008 before 6'9". Are you going to be a dad? You probably, no, I'm not going to be a dad. I am getting married in March, but no, not going to be a father, at least not anytime soon. I do consider my my pets to be my children, though. I care for them very much. I really enjoy caring for them. But I know it's not the same. I know. Alright, so I'm going to sign it over here. And actually, you might see the top of my hat because I have to reach over. All right, this is going to be a reference to those of you that have been watching the videos since the very early days. So those of you that have been watching since I started this painting and are now watching me sign it and complete it, type in the comments, I'm a winner. And let me know if you catch the reference to any of my older videos. And if you're just tuning in, you're still a winner. Hey Dondo, pets are great. They don't talk back. And if you still have any questions pertaining to, oil painting, and if you're new to oil painting, I don't think there's no such thing as a dumb question. Feel free to ask me anything, as long as there are no curse words or anything controversial in the question. Hey Doreen, you are a winner. Hey Bert, 2008-469. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the congratulations. Hey, Kathy. Yes, you are definitely a winner. Steven, you are a winner. And those of you that have just tuned in today, go ahead and type "I'm awesome." Not me, but you. Just type the words "I'm awesome." Hey, Bert, 2008 you are a winner. Um, hey, Michelle. Opinions on working bigger scale, 18 by 24 inch. Definitely, I would do a lot of thumbnail sketches. But in fact, all of these virtual painting sessions, I usually do a little. I plan these out usually before I start filming them. And I would suggest to do the same with the larger ones as well. I'm signing this hoping it sells at some point. Hey, Dondo. Yep. You're a winner. Oh, thanks, Shia. I'm going to add the last 0 here. And we're going to call this a completed painting. What would Bob Ross say? We just about have a finished painting. Let's make sure I spelled my name right. I did. So, hopefully, this one will sell. Let's cross our fingers. Hey, Pamela. I ordered the Cobra paint. I love regular oil paint, but hope you will do another painting with them this winter. I can, certainly. Just know, Pamela, they do take a little bit longer to dry, so I'd actually work on multiple paintings at the same time. Hey, Steven. Oh, this is addressed to Dondo. Oh, please tell that to my cat at 3 a.m. when she thinks it's breakfast time. Hey, Barbara. Yes, you are awesome. And awesome work on your painting of this image, by the way. Hey, Susanna. Yep, you're a winner. Hey, Michelle, I've been following for a couple months, so I don't know if I fit either category. Well, you are an awesome winner, Michelle. Hey, Barbara. Oh, I'm glad that you enjoy these virtual painting sessions. So what do you think, everyone? You think that this one will sell at some point? And again, here are the paintings. Whoops. Here are the paintings that are currently for sale minus... whoops, why do I keep doing that? Minus the second one from the right on the bottom. That one is now Kathy's painting. But all of them are for sale except for the red mug. So every one of these paintings are for sale. And yes, I have lowered the price on all of these paintings, and I will keep the prices consistent. So let me show you again. This is what the listings look like close up. This is the pumpkin. So this one ended up being titled Pumpkins and Dementor, because there's a Dementor in the sky on the top right, if anyone recalls this painting. So it's Pumpkins and Dementor. I think someone actually suggested that one. So again, each one of these paintings that are available are one-of-a-kind paintings, and they come with they will come with certificates of authenticity, and I will create a custom box to ship them. Hey, Red Angry Bird, you are indeed awesome. Everyone that is a winner is awesome, and everyone that is awesome is a winner. Hey, Ann Sims. And yes, so if you would like to receive notifications of when I go live, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the notification bell. But also, around the same time, usually it's Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, Steven, does anyone else have a huge dislike / disappointment with whatever they paint? Oh no, don't feel that way, Steven. Your paintings are great. Yeah, we all go through that, Steven. We all definitely go through that. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, I hope this one sells. Again, I will let you know on the stream, on the maybe next stream or the one after that. I think it'll be ready for sale on the next stream, so probably like Saturday. Saturday you will see this one for sale. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna post this one for sale sometime before, sometime just before the stream, so everyone watching gets the earliest notification. Oh, thanks, Doreen. You know, one last little thing. I don't like how sharp this is. This here. So I may actually adjust it. I don't think I need to adjust it too much though. Yeah, somewhere about there. I don't want to mess up the ray of light. Alright, so I'm going to hang out a little bit as usual. Start to clean off my brushes. If you see this shake, it's because my paper towel and my turpentine are just below, attached to the same apparatus that's holding all this together. So this has been great. I really appreciate the questions and the dialogue. Especially appreciate you, Kathy, for purchasing one of the paintings. And again, everyone, the paintings are available now at first come, first serve. So tomorrow I will get to making a box. Hey, Pamela. Yes, you are a winner. How about solvents? Does anyone have a question about solvents? I can talk about solvents while I'm using solvent to clean. And Sims. Oh, thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed, everyone, that this one sells. Hey, Alicia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name again. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked my voice. So these brushes that are the same length, I usually clean them together. And Sims, me? Wait, what does me mean? Hey, Kathy, I treat every painting as a learning experience, so I'm happy with what I get out of each one. Now that is a positive attitude. And you have learned so much, Kathy. Barbara, Adondo, Stephen, all of the online students here. And again, anyone that's interested in the online classes, just feel free to send me an email for a free sample lesson if you're not quite sure if the lessons are for you, or just sign up right away. And I always send the new students the welcome package with all the playlists containing the lessons corresponding to each project. The playlists are set up in chronological order so that the students can go through each project at their own pace. So all of that is given in the welcome package, and I send it to you as soon as I get the notification that you've joined the online classes. Hey, Elsie Joe. YW. Hey, Steven. Well, I like the smell of liquid and terps. Awesome. I don't particularly dislike the smell of turpentine. This is actually my last little bit of turpentine. I think I've completely run out. And I prefer to use turpentine over Gamsol because it cleans better and it thins better. But now after this last drops, I'm going to have to use Gamsol until I can get to the store. Hey, Michelle. I do prefer turpentine. Actually, I prefer spike lavender over anything, but it's really expensive. But it's it's the healthiest option. There's nothing wrong with Gamsol or odorless mineral spirits. Actually, I'm gonna have to use Gamsol now because it's all gone. All of the terps are gone. And Sims, what is it called? Oh, good question. Good question. Everyone, please feel free to type a name for this painting. I might title it something about the light. I usually prefer comical titles, but not for this one. Since, I don't know. Maybe we can have a comical title, like something with the hat. I don't know. Ray of light. That's often said too much. I don't know. Any possible names? And if you're wondering why the brush is spinning down here, it's because I have my paper towel underneath right underneath the camera frame. I don't know, I might name it something ethereal, something mystic. Alright, so this brush is ready to be cleaned with soap, dish soap and water. Hey Steven, that Winsor bottle I looked at the size of Spike in the Spike Lavender in the UK was about 60 euros, very expensive. Yep, it can be very expensive. So in all practicality, everyone, this will get the job done, and it's usually not that expensive.
Set the alarm for when?
I wasn't talking to you, Siri.
Okay.
Siri is so rude. But this will get the job done. If you don't have access to Spike Lavender, Gamsol will do pretty well. Hey, Kathy. Raider of the Ark. Oh, that's interesting. Like Tomb Raider? Or interesting. I'm going to screenshot this. I've learned to take screenshots of the comments. And Pamela, title Second Glance. Yep, I'm going to take some screenshots. Oh, yeah. Oh, these are nice titles. Yep, keep them coming as I clean the painting surface or the palette. Another tip for beginners and intermediate painters alike. If you're lazy when it comes to cleaning palettes like I am, this will make things very simple for you. And that's it. Let's see. Hey, Michelle, the hat. Yep, that's very appropriate. I like it. Hey, Steven, title Jane of the Jungle is the best I can come up with. Or use the model's name. Jane of the Jungle. That's a good one. Hey, Michelle, simply the hat. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of likes for the hat. Hey, Elsie, Mademoiselle, Mademoiselle of Secrets? I don't know. I'm trying to read that one. Hey, Karam. Hello. We're just coming up with titles for this one. This one is now complete. Or is it? Okay. I had just a little too sharp of an edge there. Second glance, Doreen, that's a good one. Oh, right. So you're voting for the second glance. Donda likes the title for the hat. And Secrets. Alizarin. The hat. We're getting a lot of suggestions for the hat. Yeah, of course, Karam. I can definitely explain the opaque and transparent. So when you're layering an oil painting, number one, fat over lean. I'll talk about fat over lean. So fat over lean means that, let's see. Oh, Barbara, I just got your email. So I'm going to get to your email right after the stream ends. Fat over lean means you want to have more oil content to your painting with the increase in number of layers. Now that we talked about that, opaque and transparent. So the thicker the paint, the more opaque, especially if you're using flake white. So that's going to be very opaque. So in the lights, when I'm building a painting, I layer more transparent, particularly here. This is very transparent because I layered dark. So darker, more transparent. Lighter, thicker. So this is thicker, and this is more transparent. Let's see. So hopefully that helps, Karim, with the opaque and transparent. And of course, when it comes to transparent, certain colors are really useful for transparency, such as your alizarin here, alizarin crimson, Lake Extra, or any of the alizarins. Hey, Alcija, because her face is so mysteriously, secretly. I see that. Pamela, lace dress, felt hat. Oh, that makes sense. Lace dress, felt hat. I got a Lana Del Rey song in my head, for some reason. Hey, Steven, when I paint this, I will have an overwhelming urge to paint the feather in the hat. I see. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it would kind of jump out. I feel like the composition is kind of like a nice spiral going. I feel like the feather would have kind of drew the attention out. I don't know. Like, it could be something to add. Hey, Alcija. I think the face is more interesting than her hat. Well, yeah, I see that. Anthony, I can't get copper sand. Oh, ampersand. Can I use what can I use anything else? You can. I mean, you can use like a birchwood panel, like just a regular panel that you get from like a craft store. And as long as you gesso it with, this is pretty much the most important ingredient when it comes to preparing surfaces, other than the actual surface. I highly recommend this, the Liquitex Professional. And you can gesso just a regular wooden surface. For instance, I'm going to get up for a second and show you one that I used that type of material. So I actually, if anyone's wondering why I didn't go back to the Van Dyke, I thought about it several times, but I kind of liked the way it looked. So I didn't go back to it, but I just wanted to show you it. This is like regular wood, like regular birch wood. And you can actually get wood like this from the craft store and gesso it like I did. I added several layers of gesso. The Liquitex, see how it's kind of off screen here because it's zoomed. This is 1114 and the other painting, this one is 9x12. So, for instance, this I gessoed several times, I think almost 10 times with the Liquitex Professional. And then what I did was I toned it with the raw umber, then painted onto it. So let's see. So I'll get back to you in the messages. So yeah, this is one that was done with the with just a regular birch wood, and I didn't want to work on this. I kind of liked the way it was. I don't know what everyone thinks about that one, but that was just for example. I can also put that one for sale too if someone wants that one. Of course, I have to sign it. Let's see. Hey Karam, please explain the opaque and transparent concept. Yeah, okay. So I did talk about opaque and transparent earlier, but I can talk a little bit more about it before we head out. Let me get to reading the other ones first, and I'll talk about that one. So Stephen, I love painting hats. It means I don't have to put as much hair. That's true. I really like when there's a beard on the certain models because I don't have to paint the chin. Hey Bert 2008 469. Oh, okay. I see that. Hey LC, I like to paint hair because I love hair, especially long hair. I do like painting long hair. I do usually paint long dark hair for some reason. Oh, thanks, Bert 2008 469. Oh, hey David Dowden. Greetings to all from New Orleans. Hello to Pari and Dondo. Thank you for being here today. Well, thank you for tuning in. Hey Pamela. Quite admiration. So a title quite admiration. So now that I've read all the comments that just came in, opaque and transparent. Okay, I can talk more about opaque and transparent. So I usually say it's easier to layer darker, and that is because in the video before this one, I put in the lights here very, very bright and very thick. And then as I started glazing here, I used medium to make the paint transparent. So in the areas that are darker, I worked more transparent. So here, more transparent. And then here, more opaque. So more opaque in the lights. Because if I go too transparent with the lights, it will become kind of cold. Too cold and too blue. So that's, again, I'm trying to reiterate about the opaque and transparent. And also a really good color to use for transparencies is Alizarin Crimson. Either Alizarin Permanent or Alizarin Crimson Lake Extra, like I have here, is a really good color, along with using your medium. You want to have either Liquin, Neo Megilp, or Venetian medium. They're really good mediums to use for glazing and to get transparencies. Hey David Lawrence, about 12 quality oil paints today in various colors, and Liquin didn't buy brushes. Well, of course, we tend to agree that the most important aspect really is the painting support and the paints themselves. So yeah, I usually just use like cheaper brushes, cheaper acrylic and watercolor brushes. Hey Doreen, oh, you like the Van Dyke? Yeah, I think I can sign it. If anyone's interested in that one, I can post that one too. Hey Steven, yeah, feel free to send me more images. So yeah, while we're live here, I guess I can Actually, I'll sign it afterwards just because it's off screen. But yeah, I think I'll sign this one up here just because the original Van Dyke is also an underpainting like this. So what I'm going to do is sign it and then after Van Dyke up here. And then I can also put this one for sale. Alrighty. So I'm just going to hang out for another minute here because I've already cleaned the palette. I've cleaned the brushes. I've completed the painting. So I think we are good to go. And again, remember the paintings that are created in these virtual painting sessions are going to be for sale. So again, here is the paintings that are currently for sale, except for the second one to the right on the bottom. This one, the red one, with the mug titled the coffee mug and friend, now belongs to Kathy. But all of the other paintings that you're seeing here are available. The painting of the cat, Kitty Gets What Kitty Wants, is available. The strawberry and the metal teapot is available. The 3 glasses titled Table for 3, based off of your comments, is available. That rooster, which was a title mentioned in the video, the rooster one is for sale. The pumpkin patch with the I can actually zoom into that one. The pumpkin patch with the Dementor flying in the sky is also available for sale. The landscape with Nessie and the water and that planet in the sky is also available for sale, along with the nature versus nurture still life to the far right on the bottom with the white flowers. That is still available for sale. Price has been lowered. Oh, thanks, Susanna. Yep. Good night, Stephen. All right. Remember, if you liked what you've seen here, please check out my online classes for $10 a month. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel to receive notifications for when I go live. And thank you so much, Kathy, as well. So thank you so much, everyone. Remember, I should be live again this Saturday around 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will most likely, we will be starting a new painting then. So I wish you the very best in all of your artwork. Remember to send me an email if you are on the fence of the online classes. I can send you a free sample lesson. Yep, I wish you the very best in all of your artwork. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. And before I leave, everyone definitely give a thumbs up to Dondo, our moderator. So thank you so much, Dondo. So after I sign off, all of the comments as I've seen do still show up. So again, everyone, thumbs up for Dondo. Dondo, I'm sending you a literal thumbs up. So thank you so much, my wonderful moderator, Dondo. And thank you all so much for all of your questions. And I will see you on the next one.